Mr. Ajit, what's your story?
Well, right now I'm a realtor and a developer, but definitely if you go back, there have been a lot of challenges. So I start with I was born in Pakistan and I've been moving between two countries, India and Pakistan,
Okay.
during my childhood. I wasn't a bright
I
student
didn't
at
know
all.
about India. When
Yeah,
was that?
that was when I was 5 years old. We
Really?
moved, yes.
Okay.
I lived there for like 9 years, I believe.
Really?
Yes,
You lived in India for 9 years?
yes, we lived in India for 9
Wow.
years.
So you've actually lived in Pakistan for a very short time, I think.
Yes, so 5 years and moved to India for 7 to 9 years, then moved back to Pakistan and then Canada. So between that period when I moved from India to Pakistan, was not a bright student at all. Like
Okay.
I used to struggle. I was actually dropped out from the school as well in Karachi.
Okay.
And then my parents, of course, they were upset and they were like, okay, how should I basically keep this guy on track? So I was actually demoted from Karachi to Hyderabad,
Okay.
where my cousin used to live. And
Sorry to interrupt. So for our viewers who don't know, Karachi is the biggest metropolitan city in Pakistan, and Hyderabad is more like it is a city, but it's not as big enough or is not as good enough, I would say, as Karachi. So yes, continue.
yes,
Sorry.
so I was moved to a smaller city. And even that, I couldn't get the admission in school. My cousin, because he was a bright student, he had to basically work his magic around to basically
So
get me
did he
admission.
vouch for you? Like
He did,
he
he
did?
did,
Okay,
he
okay,
did, he
okay.
did. And then I started slowly finding my own ways in
Hmm.
that. I still remember that one incident that happened, and there was a paradigm shift in my life.
Okay,
Uh, so there were like 10 students in my class, and I remember accidentally it came top three in one of the exam.
okay,
And before we start the day in the assembly, whoever comes top three, they used to announce their name. And my name was announced. I didn't know the test result, and I was announced as number three, Ajit Vankwani. And I was shocked. I was standing in front of the whole school, and everyone started clapping me. So all the people, they had to basically come on the stage, just
okay.
say hi,
And go back.
and go back. That moment, I realized that working just small piece for the test gave me so much encouragement from the
Yeah.
people that I was like, it feels good.
Good. Yeah.
And that's where my student journey started, where I
Okay.
started basically getting back on the right track.
Okay. Okay. That's amazing.
And since then, I moved to Karachi, I studied there, and then I came to Canada as an international student.
Okay. And okay, so you you were not a bright student, but you took one of the most difficult path for education, which is actuarial science.
Yes.
I could not do it. I'm not bright either, okay, but this is something like if I'm to compare someone who does not want to study, who was not bright enough, probably got dropped out or kicked out from school, and then struggling to get an admission, and from there you come to Canada and study actuarial sciences,
Yeah.
which is very very difficult because it's more like stats. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. Math and stats. Yeah.
Nice. So how was that journey for you?
Again, I was for every step of my life, I was actually 2 to 3 years behind
Okay.
to my age. Even getting to the university, it wasn't an easy path because I was not, I didn't study the conventional OA levels in Pakistan.
Okay.
So I was an, I was studying intermediate, what do you call the system?
Yeah.
So University of Waterloo, they gave me an admission providing I had to succeed in a certain course.
Okay.
And then they would put me in the normal actual
Okay.
science program. But somehow I managed that part too. But uh,
Sorry, Ajit, just for my viewers, what year was this?
this was in 2006 when I
Okay.
got
And
an
how old
admission.
were you? Sorry.
20
Back
years.
20 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was actually admitted into a math program in university. But then after talking to a few students, that actual science is something really hard. So I
Mhm.
thought, you know what, I want to chase for that.
Okay.
So within second year of university, I thought, you know what, let me chase something which is difficult rather than getting settled on a
On an easy
smaller
path.
scale.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's where I basically got into a natural science
Nice.
program during university.
And how did you do? I'm assuming you did well.
I did well, and you have to after graduation, you have to also give like certain exams.
Okay.
There's a different association with the actuarial science. The more exams you give,
Okay.
the higher qualified you are.
Okay.
So I gave about 4 exams during my
So higher
university.
qualification means you get paid more.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
If you have a university degree and you don't have exams,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's for actuary sciences.
That's for the actuarial science. So you need to give those exams in order to get the qualification,
Nice.
the fellowship and stuff. Yeah.
Nice. So by the time you graduated, what year was that? Like
2011.
2011.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you did give the exams, and were you able to secure a job?
I did, as I said, because I was behind in every step. It took me about like 1.5 year.
Really?
Yeah, because I was struggling so much into the student program
Mm-hmm.
that I finally succeeded it. But then I'm like, oh, now here comes the job cycle, right? No one
Okay.
taught me about that.
Yeah.
So again, it took me time, but eventually I was able to secure
Nice.
my job.
So one thing probably I would like to ask you, because I've been a recent immigrant. It's just been 4 years I've been in the country. You've been here probably for almost 2 decades.
Yeah,
now,
almost.
okay. And you've probably seen a huge shift. And I can highlight them in the economy, in the education, in the type of people that are coming in, the type of food you eat now, the type of places you might be visiting these days. So let us start, or something that I'm intrigued about is, what was a student life then? And you're not too old still. You're still young. You're in your mid 30s. So what was the student life before, like back in 2006, and how do you compare them, or how would you think we can compare them with the student life nowadays that you see that are pouring in, especially from countries like India and Pakistan?
Well, the number one thing is it was very affordable for
Okay.
sure in
Okay.
terms of fees and everything else.
Okay.
Right now, if I compare with the fees, just the fees, same
Yeah.
program, it's 3.5 times more.
No way.
It's
Do you remember what was the yearly tuition that you used to pay?
$10,000 per semester.
Okay.
Okay, that's 4 months. Right now, it's about $35,000. That's what I've heard.
Damn.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's
And
a
if
lot.
and the starting salary at that time would be around like 50 to 65.
Which is still the fucking same,
Exactly.
right? Which is still the same. A lot of people are actually not being able to secure that job in this time and age.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay. And were there many, because that was not the norm back then when you left our home country. It was not very common for people to leave their home country and try to go to international schools, and after that to secure probably a living in a foreign country. So how was the lifestyle in Canada back then? Like if you are to compare it with today.
Well, there was no Google Maps.
Okay.
Okay? There was no live Google Maps. We had to literally print out, put it in our car,
Okay.
literally follow the steps. So imagine back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
All we had were like flip flop phones.
Okay.
1 GB was way more than enough.
Really?
It was the highest
Because
plan
there
we
was
could
no
get.
probably streaming going on. Yeah.
Exactly. Even 1 GB is way too much. I probably think 512 MB.
Okay.
That, but it was quiet, less distracting for sure.
Okay. Did you like that, or do you like it now?
I think I like that.
You like that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah, I think the attention span was a little longer.
okay.
You were more focused.
100%.
Right now, you literally have to try way too harder to be focused as well.
I agree.
There's
Just
so much distraction.
because social media has changed our timeline for attention.
Yeah.
Right now, these reels of 30 seconds to a minute is something that you have patience for. That's it.
Yeah.
More than that, you don't have any patience for anything now.
Yeah.
So I agree to that point. But for our viewers, probably what's interesting is how was the living and accommodation and the expenses back then?
Average. So of course, as a student, we used to share the
Yeah,
whole
of course.
house.
You're on a
Everyone
budget.
used to-
Yeah.
yeah. Someone used to share a room as well. But
Do you remember how much you used to?
yeah. I can tell. So as a master bedroom, it was maximum you could pay is like $400,
What?
and if you share it, probably like 300.
Yeah.
And I always used to get a master bedroom.
Okay.
So 400 was the max I paid.
Wow.
Right now, in Waterloo, there are no more old houses.
Okay.
There are more luxury apartments. The concept have changed.
Okay.
And people are paying minimum $1,000. That's what I've heard.
I think that's not even the price. I think it's more than that.
More than that.
Yeah.
Maybe. If
I
you-
mean, $1,000 is a blessing if you get a room for that much.
so
Yeah.
it's definitely. I don't think so many people used to work like a part-time job as well. Some
Really?
people used to like somehow manage their way,
Okay.
but right now
Because
they're not.
like I mentioned, there was a guest prior to you as well. She was also mentioning that the focus or the idea of having international students is mainly to study, right? And if you're coming here, automatically the assumption is you're coming from a background, at least that who could afford your living and your education, and part-time job is a plus. If you're able to sustain with your education, then that's a plus. You can probably make more money. But nowadays, the trend is people actually come here not for education, although the path they choose is education,
Yeah,
but their
yes.
goal is to secure a job. And you
And
see,
immigration.
right, immigration, and you see these people, students, marching on streets and asking for rights, which we don't know what for, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure back then that was probably not even the trend.
No, it was so easy to get in. Honestly, people used to come for education and their goal was to go back.
That's exactly what an international
Right
student's
now,
goal
people
is.
are just using education as just a way to get in
True.
because they just want to like to
Yeah.
stay here.
Yeah, of course.
That's the difference.
And how much on an average would you spend on your food, the phone bill, and if you compare it with today's time?
Phone bill up. I think the price was the same, just you get more features now.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
So that was also an average of 30, 40 to 50 bucks.
$50.
Okay.
But I do remember the price of foot long back then.
The what?
Foot long.
Footlong Subway.
Subway,
Okay.
which was my favorite food. I think we used to pay about like $8 or $9
Okay, for a footlong.
foot long.
Okay.
Okay. And right now it's about like 15 to
It's
70.
been quite some time I haven't had, but I won't doubt that because an average meal right now is between $50 to $20.
So yes. So that's where I can judge where we are right now. So it's twice.
Yeah, and based on what you just mentioned about the range of compensation that people get, it's still the same. So imagine your expenditures have doubled in terms of real estate. A $400 master bedroom today would probably be near 1,500, 1,400. That's from my experience because I live in downtown, and that 1,500 is if you're really blessed, you get a master bedroom with your own ensuite washroom. Otherwise, you're just sharing a standard bedroom, probably sharing the washroom with a bunch of people and still paying $1,200 to $1,300.
Yeah.
So it's insane in terms of real estate, which we're going to cover in a bit because that's where your expertise are. Other than that, how was life like as a person? What did you think? Were you um were you stressed living alone because you come from a joint family sort of a background, and someone who is probably blessed by having a lot of people around, mentors around, and all of a sudden coming here alone? How was that for you as a
It
person?
back then it wasn't very popular people going abroad.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there was no social media, anything. The only thing you hear is, oh, that person went abroad. Do
Mm-hmm.
you want to meet him in person just to see what the life is? Because
Mm.
you don't know. You
Yeah,
cannot see their
you cannot
profile.
see. Yeah,
You can only know the life when you meet them.
yeah.
So it was very difficult for sure. I had an option to go different country, but I chose Canada. Only reason was my dad's childhood friend was 3 hours away from Waterloo. That
Okay.
was the main
Wow,
indication that okay, we want to send you to Canada
wow.
just because of that, because we
There's
have that
someone
one
who could
small
look after
connection.
you, probably. Yeah, or someone's there where whenever you need help.
Yeah.
Wow, nice. And as a single person living, what were the challenges that you faced back then? Like, what did you think that you had to struggle with the most?
I think I was not a very social person, so
Okay.
uh, I had to basically make new friends. And there's a funny thing about university. Not many people, whoever has attended a university, when people come here in their first year, everyone comes with the strong chest, assuming that they are the hero.
Yeah.
Everyone start
Then I'm the
saying that,
best.
oh, I've been doing this past my life. What it's like, what's your resume? What's my resume? I'm stronger than you in this.
It's like a competitive environment. Yeah.
Exactly. They settle down in first year, but somehow you're like, but my background wasn't that strong. So I was
Yeah.
always the one shying
Hi.
behind the back. I don't want to show who I am because I'm
Mhm.
nothing.
Okay. Okay.
That's where I struggle
Okay.
to prove myself. Okay, I'm also something. I'm just working my way around.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that was the biggest struggle for me,
Okay.
for sure,
Okay.
for sure.
And now you're a socialite. I would say we party together. Well, we're close now, and I can see your lifestyle right now. So I could never tell that you were a shy person back then, especially in the field that you have chosen for yourself. The path that you've taken is somewhere you need to meet people every fucking day, right? You need to be talking to them, engaging them, because more or less this is a sales thing, right? You need to sell what you have in plate. So in order to sell that, you need to talk. So I could never tell that you probably were shy back then, but that's interesting for me to know that about you during the session. Um, so fast forward, 2011, you graduated, and you said you secured a job a year and a half after that.
Yes,
Okay,
in Vancouver.
okay.
That
So
was
you moved from
from
Ontario to
Vancouver.
okay, and how was that?
Very good. And that's where that job,
Yeah.
as I mentioned, every step, everything in my life was coming later than what where
Okay.
it should be, but I got it eventually.
Okay.
That's where my confidence grew.
Okay.
That's why I was like, you know what? All the things that I've been doing in the past, now I landed a job. Now I'm an independent person. I can earn money, and that was the biggest achievement that I would say.
Okay.
That basically showed me I can do anything as long as I'm
You're
focused.
focused and dedicated to it. So yeah,
So
that's a strong will, strong learning for a lot of
yeah.
people. Do you remember, Ajit? How were drugs back then? Were they common in your time? Like, would people engage in drugs? And nowadays, it's fucking common. If you see someone smoking weed every day, it's not even a question anymore because it's legal. But back then, was it a norm in students or in professionals in your field who would go out of their way and probably just smoke up and do drugs in general? Was that something that you witnessed during your time?
Yes and no. So there were a couple of incident in my university. People who were so isolated back home, when they
Mhm.
saw so much freedom in Canada,
Okay.
they went all out. They went all out in such a way that they had to basically, they were almost there in, they were basically dropping out from the university,
Okay.
and the parents basically told
Just
them to
come back.
come back.
Okay.
So, but so out of maybe 20 people, there were
Yeah.
like a few, but other, they were completely focused.
Okay.
So, so I mean, yes and no.
Okay.
Yes
Yeah, I
and no.
understand. So probably the mind shift it also changed because nowadays when I look at students or since you've seen me hang out with people who are younger than me. I actually have friends who are 10 years younger than me. So those people when I look at their lifestyle, they're more laid back. They did not have the ambition or the motivation to, yeah, I want to do this course because I want to be like this and I'm going to get this job and then I'm going to make this much money. That's that's probably not a question anymore in the plate. It's just, yeah, I want to get the education because immigration is easy. I'm gonna get a job, and then through that job, 2 years down the lane, I'm gonna get my permanent residency, and from there onwards, I'm gonna be something. And in between, I'm a social media influencer. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So things have become easier for these people, but that's also a drawback because back then competition was there, and it's a universal cycle that if you're put in a if you're put in a spot where you have to work hard and be competitive, your mind works in a different way,
Yeah.
right? You tend to look for things and try to achieve things which then hold meaning to your life, which you probably experienced. Like you said, you were missing out on some of the things. You were like a couple of years behind from your age, people of your age group. But then when you worked hard, you saw the charm and you saw how good it feels, and then you decided to stick to it and
Yeah.
you worked very hard for it. So that's great. That's probably one of the learnings that
And there was one thing that worked for me
yeah.
at that time. You need to choose your friends wisely. I I chose my friend who were way ahead than me, but they were
Okay.
so much focused. They, I mean, their GPA was close to 4.
Okay.
I knew I couldn't compete with them, but at least by looking at them, I said, you know what, maybe I can achieve somewhere
You want to
in
be
3.
surrounded by those people.
So though that was very very important for me. I think the journey in university became much easier because I was
You were
telling
surrounded.
them be around with me.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. And as the quote, which I keep mentioning, I've mentioned this also in my previous podcast. You are the sum of 5 people
Yeah,
you surround
yeah,
yourself with,
yeah.
right?
That's
So if
true.
you're surrounding yourself with fools, you're surrounding yourself with people with, just low self esteem, low IQ. You're eventually going to be like them.
Yeah,
And if you're surrounding yourself with people discussing money all the time, then eventually you're going to be rich. Like it's inevitable because you're always discussing how to make money. So at one point, even if you're not going to be like them, your brain is going to think, okay, I've actually learned a thing or two from this guy, and I can implement it in my life, and that's really amazing. And you were also one of the inspiration. when we met 2 years ago. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do real estate. You don't even know about this. I actually registered myself for real estate.
No
Yeah, I
way.
did. It's just happened. There were some life events which took place in between, which I was busy with. I did not pursue it. Otherwise, my sister knows about this, and I told her when we met, like a month later. I was like, you know what? I want to be like a Jeet. Like, be very honest. Told her that I want to get out of my 9 to 5.
Did you knew me before that, or
After we met,
okay? That's
yeah.
where you basically
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
of
After
me.
we met, I saw you do your work, and I was like, I speak, all the time. I talk all the time,
Yeah,
and this guy's job is actually talking all the time.
yeah,
I think I can do this job. I can pull this off. And you were a great inspiration because before we got into whatever deal we did, you were a friend,
yeah,
and you tried to become my friend, and you opened a lot of avenues for me in welcoming me.
yeah.
So I was really impressed by that, and I was like, what, I'm already not sorry, I'm already thinking to pursue something else. Why not real estate? And
Right.
I actually paid for it. I registered. I paid $550 for it, and I never continued with it. I just left it hanging with the first course. So I actually know about a lot of things of the basic real estate market. What's a broker? What's a brokerage? What's a salesperson? What's their definition? So I learned that. But anyway, I got busy with my own stuff, and I was not able to pursue that. But yes, you did motivate me. Like you said, started hanging out with people who you think you can be inspired from, and then eventually it just comes inside you that you would want to do something.
That's great.
So that's one thing I'm going to give you credit for. um so Ajit, what happened after that? I mean, you got a good education, you proved yourself to be a bright student, you cleared all the exams that you had to, you secured a good job, you were probably earning well. What happened then?
Well, the first thing I did, which not many people know, is after I got a job, I started somewhat relaxing myself and
Okay.
started drinking.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
just for fun, because I
Yeah.
thought, okay, you know what, I
You've achieved something.
I
Okay.
didn't have a single sip of alcohol during my
No
university.
way. Okay.
I didn't. I was very, very focused.
Okay.
While I was working, again, I made a different friends at work as well. But and two things happened. One is I was kind of uh, very. It was very a one-dimensional job. Actual
Okay.
sense is very good, but it's very, very, very kind of focused numbers.
Okay.
You only kind of do similar kind of things again and again and again.
Okay.
One thing I knew that what will happen after 10 years when I do really good at this job. Maybe from a cubicle I will shift to an office.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there might be one extra zero on
Okay.
my paycheck,
Okay. Which a lot of people probably don't
and
want.
there will be more employees under me. What else will change if I keep doing this?
Mm-hmm.
The answer was nothing will change these things. I will still be in a box, still be doing same thing.
Correct.
And that's why I saw that 10 years of vision, and that's where my body started kind of
Reacting.
shaking that
Mm.
I need to see what's out there. When you study, no one tells you what your life gonna be. Yes, you know what education you're gonna get,
Mm.
but no one tells you what you're gonna do in 9 to 5,
True.
right?
Yeah.
So that's where I found out, oh shit, this is what I'm gonna do 9 to 5. No one told me about this
Mm-hmm.
during my whole education career. That was one thing. The second thing was the person I was working. I do thank him. He was the same, but he was senior than me, and he was actually starting his own business at that time.
Okay.
And he told me, okay, I am doing this because I'm following my passion.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what the hell is passion? And that's where I asked myself,
What is your passion?
exactly, exactly. That's the question I asked. And I said, I don't know. Because I was just following a natural path. Everyone says, okay, study,
Yeah.
get the education degree, give exams, 9 to 5.
We've
What
been
is the
psyoped
passion?
to that for the longest time. We've just been told that this is how life looks like. You have to study, you have to secure a good job. If you secure a good job, you're probably going to find a beautiful wife for yourself. If you have a beautiful wife, you're going to have a good life, blah, blah, blah. But then again, that's exactly how life was probably until 8 years ago when people started realizing that's not enough,
Yeah.
right?
And there was one thing that that the guy I know, Ali, he mentioned that he's working on his passion, he's working on his business. I said, okay, this is something I want to do it too. And there was one more quote that I read about what Steve Jobs said.
Okay.
that the most amount of time that you're going to spend is with your work, not with your family,
Correct.
not with anyone else, is with your work.
Correct.
I said, okay. So I need to make sure that work needs to be something that I really like and love.
True.
That's where I'm gonna be happy. So that's where I started doing a lot of things. I started talking about it,
Okay.
but it's hard to leave a 9 to 5 job,
True,
right?
because
You
it
don't
pays well, right?
exactly, you
Yeah.
don't know what to do. But because in my journey from being a dropout student to getting in, struggling into the university and then job, I knew one thing. If you really want something, you will get it. It's just you need to be focused.
Yeah.
I thought, you know what? Let's take a risk. One more risk. This is a time. Let's leave 9 to 5 job and find your passion.
And what year was this?
2013, when I was what, 27.
Okay.
Oh, trust me, no one was happy.
I'm sure.
I paid as an international student fee, so especially my parents, they're like,
What are you
"What are you
doing?
doing with your life? We spent so much money
Money,
on
yeah.
you,
Yeah.
relying on you.
Yeah.
You will do this, this, this." I was just like, I don't know. I need to find out I said, give me some time. I will find out what I want to do.
But you quit your job.
I did quit my job.
Wow.
I gave resignation. I guess. Um,
And this was the same point you told me that you actually left Canada for some
yes,
time.
yes. So there was a dark time of my life where I left Canada. I didn't have my PR with me.
Okay.
I applied it, but I didn't have it. Left
Mhm.
my job, and I said, you know what? I'm coming back home, Pakistan. And I went there, and I was talking to different people just to see. The first, I mean, I was my uncle, my dad. They belonged to a business family, so they
Yeah.
had their own small businesses. I said, you know what? Let me try to work into your one
Okay.
venture as an employee. Then I was handling 13 admin staff,
Okay.
and I was working on a salary,
Okay.
and in a diagnostic center. I
Okay.
thought, let me see how it feels like to be there. And on the side, I was trying to find what I really like. So the first thing I did was I joined a photography class.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to like photography,
Okay.
but I thought, you know what? What if I
Become a
join as a
photographer.
profession?
Okay.
And then on the side I did that, and then I did that for about 6 months. I said, you know what, this is not something I can make as a profession. What if I do something else? Then choreography came to my life because I
Really?
like dancing.
Okay.
Then I started doing that, and I thought, how am I gonna I'm gonna make money being as a
Out of this. Yeah.
choreographer? So I kept doing these small things here and then, and I was completely confused what I want to do with my
I'm
life.
sure. Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, then I came to Canada again
Hmm.
because we got a permanent resident, so I had to
Okay.
come with my family,
Okay.
and that's where the second part of journey started.
And this was in.
This was in 2014 December. So I was in Pakistan for 1.5 year.
Okay.
I was doing so many different things, but
Okay.
I had a one permanent job
Okay.
at my at my dad and uncle business. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. By this time, you went to Pakistan and you came back to Canada. So, what did you have in mind? What are you going to do? Are you going to do your same job? Are you going to go back, look for a job? What was going on in your head?
Well, one thing was for sure that because now I have more responsibility because my whole family is coming with. I was not married at that time, only
Hmm.
engaged. But my family, they were relying on me because I had like the whole experience, right?
Hmm.
They know where to live,
Hmm.
where to get your grocery from, nothing, clueless.
Exactly.
So they were completely relying on me. So that was an extra sense of responsibility that I felt. Uh, Again, I was fighting with my parents. The what I don't want to do job, but social pressure.
Hmm.
So what I did was I thought about myself. Okay, I need time. I need to work, and
Okay.
I need time. So I don't want to hear these extra noises that is coming.
Hmm.
So I got a actual science job,
Okay.
but at a lower grade, so
Okay.
that only I can work 9 to 5.
Not more than that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're working way many more hours in
Okay.
in a consulting job, which I was doing before.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, I'm gonna do that. but on the side, I'm going to keep hustling what I want to
Okay.
do. So that's the little trick that I applied.
Okay.
And I was earning money, there was no noises, and I started exploring again things. One thing happened was there was one more person, again, someone came in my life
Yeah.
uh, who was also new to Canada, experienced than me. He wanted to do a business as well.
Okay.
And he saw that I'm very passionate about things and I'm
You're
very
eager. Yeah.
energetic and I'm also looking for something else. He said, how about we start hunting different businesses? So we went on a road and we was just trying to get different kind of businesses.
Okay.
So during that process, two things we explored a lot, but two things clicked. One, we opened up a money exchange franchise.
Okay.
Okay. And second, we wanted to flip properties,
Okay.
like renovate properties and flip it. And we actually bought one as well.
Okay.
Uh, During that process, I learned so much about the properties.
Mm-hmm.
I even bought my house through someone else, by the way. I was
Okay.
not an agent at that
Mm-hmm.
point. And my partner told me that, okay, uh, why don't you become an agent? I'll buy a house from you. And because I had so much knowledge during that as well. And by the way, there was one more thing. I wanted my brother to become a real estate agent while I was in Canada.
Oh, okay.
That field was always in my mind, but he was never
And he's
interested.
younger to you, right?
He's younger and he
Okay.
also registered for the exam, by the way, like you.
Okay.
He did.
Okay.
He studied for the first exam. He said that this is not for me.
Okay.
So I thought, you know what? This field has been going on thing in my head for last past 5 years. Now know so much about the properties.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting into the flipping business and I have first client ready for me,
Mm.
right?
Someone who's just gonna buy from you. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was working 9 to 5 job and I started studying for my exam. I used to travel to my workplace in a go bus, and
Okay.
that's where I used to study
Okay.
before and after. And as soon as I got my license, that partner got a house from me, and I already had so much knowledge
Mm.
with me. And I thought, you know what? I have such a big university friend circle.
Mm.
Why don't I capture them?
Yeah.
That was the target market.
Okay.
And because at that point,
Smart.
yeah,
Smart of you to think like that.
because
Yeah.
because at that time there was no young agent. All the agents, the demographic was like 40 plus, 45 plus. There was a very traditional way of doing real estate at that time. There was no social media.
Correct. Yeah.
So because I was doing so much experiment with my life, that was one of another experiment I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
And this was in what year now?
this was
By the
in
time you got.
2016. I got my license.
Okay.
So that after coming to Canada again,
Yeah.
I worked for 1.5 years from 2015 to 2016. I
Okay.
was working 9 to 5 job, and I got my license,
Okay.
and I had my first transaction done.
How did it
And
feel?
oh, very good,
Yeah.
definitely
Do
very
you
good.
remember your first commission? How much was that?
It was around like 10,000, I believe.
Really?
Yes, and I felt very good, definitely. And I know that okay, I want to do more because it was definitely way more than what.
What you're earning a month? Yeah.
Yes, and that was the second time um, where I was working. Aon Hewitt was the company name. I told my manager, listen, uh, I'm doing this on the side, and uh, is it possible that I want to take a break? Uh, and if nothing works out,
I'll be back.
I'll be back. Financially, I was like, oh, I did couple of more deals while I was working 9 to 5. So I said myself, I have enough money now that if I don't work for 1 year, I have enough
Okay.
saving
Okay.
that I can do this for a longer period.
Okay.
If this worked, perfect. If it doesn't work, let me hedge it. So I went to my manager. I said, listen, I'm taking a leave for like 4 months. If this thing work out perfect, I'll come back. If it doesn't work out, she said, perfectly fine. You can
Okay.
join where you left off. So
Okay.
they were happy with my work.
That's nice.
So 1 year of salary, and I had a secure kind of job. If it doesn't work out, I went and
You just went all in.
Gave my resignation second time at that time. Never looked back.
Nice, nice. That's inspiring. That's nice. So now you're in the business for how many years now? 8 years in this line of work,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
8
License 8
years.
years. Yeah.
And it's actually a good thing that you mentioned that things were done in a different way back then. So just for our viewers who aspire to be real estate agents in future, or are just struggling, probably going through that journey, what would you say what was different back then and what's different being done now? And the point I want you to highlight is how easy it is now. Like something for them to actually think, yeah, you know what, you should be thankful because back then we used to do this just to sell a house. Now you have this, and you can sell it in an easy way. So what are those things or learnings that you want to share?
Well, the number one thing is technology.
Okay.
Back then, uh, hardly people used to DocuSign, online signing.
Okay.
We had to do like paper signing. So
Okay.
either we used to go to the client house,
Okay.
get it signed by a pen, and then fax it,
Okay.
scan it, and fax it.
Okay.
Okay. So imagine the time
That is saved.
that is saved now.
True. And probably some errors correction, right? So I'm assuming right now, if there's an error, you're on your laptop, you're on the phone, you change it, you email it again,
Yes.
right? And before, you probably, if there was some changes, you had to go back to your house or laptop, computer, print it out again, go back to the client. Wow. Okay,
That
that's
was
one.
one. Second, I think the amount of training
Okay.
at that time, because again, the social media thing were not really there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not many agents were covering all these podcasts, online lessons, and stuff. So we had to learn our way,
The harder way.
harder way. Exactly.
Yeah,
So I think these are the two things that definitely.
has helped.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. And having said all that, what do you think if those people who just find no motivation right now, because real estate has its charm right now, and especially after COVID, I've seen a lot of people switch careers because of the boom in the market. But what I also see is that they don't put a lot of effort, and they just try to get in this business because they see the charm of other people. They don't see the work they've put in.
100%.
Right now, if you would not have told me how your journey was, I was also a certain, I had an impression about you a certain way that you probably had it easy, right? Right now, you're telling me your journey, and I'm just imagining it. 8 years in this business, 4 years in a 9 to 5 job, and other than that, the struggles of you being, antisocial, blah blah blah, comprising of almost 20 years. The journey is not easy. It looks easy on the surface because they see right now who you are, and now probably you get your things done because you've made a name for yourself. You're probably working for a better brokerage now. You have your own name. But those who want motivation, who just want to hear some things from you that would provide them the reality check that, look, this is what's going to happen, but at the same time, you'll get this. So what are those things in your opinion?
There's one more thing which you really mentioned, which is very, very good about the charm that how people got into. Even at that point when I got into, I asked many people, okay, how's the real stuff? Am I getting into this? And, oh, there's too much competition. Don't get it.
Okay.
Don't come into this business. There's too much
They were
competition.
saying no to you.
No, yeah, exactly. They're like,
Okay.
instead refer business to me.
Okay.
And we will work together.
Wow.
That was a straight no motivation from your competitors.
That's really, yeah, that's hard.
So, and you're right, in 2020, everyone saw, because of the social media.
Yeah.
Everyone was out there. Realtors are making videos, driving good cars. People are, oh, it's a quick, easy money. They don't see the struggle behind it.
Yeah.
It got us into so much long journey, right? The motivation, the number one motivation is you need to know yourself. When I got into this business, I didn't get the license and then I did real estate.
True.
I did real estate first and then I got the license.
Correct.
The other way around.
Yeah.
Because I got to see the work behind the license.
Mm-hmm.
That, okay, what do you need to do in a real estate world? How do you need to study the property?
Mm-hmm.
How you need to grab the deal? What are the terms and conditions you need to put it in an offer?
Correct. So you basically did your homework prior, whether it was probably the line of work you chose, but again, you had the knowledge and information that
Then
was sufficient enough for you to probably pursue real estate and then have more, better understanding of a property. So right now, if a new person joining into real estate and not knowing anything about it, and you at that point in time in 2016 joining and getting your license, you were still ahead of them because you had more experience and knowledge about it. So you did your
yes,
homework. So, which is, I think, a lot of people miss out today is that they just get into this for the sake of the money
yes.
and no homework.
So that's important. Before motivation, you need to know why you're doing it.
Correct. Yeah.
And then ask yourself, are you a more social person? Do you
Mm.
like numbers? Can you handle rejection?
Correct. Yeah.
These are the things you need to not just, oh, sit down, get the license, I'm going to be like him. You can be a successful
True.
realtor.
True.
You're
Yeah.
going to be better than anyone else. But first, ask yourself, are you going to like that?
Yeah.
You're going to spend, that's what we did with I did with actuarial science.
Okay.
Oh, I want to be an actuarial science. And when I got a job, like, oh, this
I
is
don't
not
want this.
something I'm not doing it. So
Exactly.
imagine, just a second, imagine if I knew I want to be a real estate agent back in
Around six.
2010 or
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
Imagine the amount of knowledge and things I had in my mind.
True.
I would have been way ahead today.
True. Yes. Yes.
So that's the concept I really want to put
I mean,
out.
you're killing it regardless, but still, you probably now reflect back on yourself. But would you say that journey was actually also necessary for you as
Education,
a
yes.
as an individual in
Oh
your
yeah.
growth,
Oh yeah.
right?
For sure. For sure. 100%. That, as I said, the step of real estate made made it easy because in past I took 10 different risks and I
Mm.
got successful. I
In
said,
one.
okay,
Yeah.
if this doesn't work out, it will work out.
Yeah.
That's why I took that extra step of real
Nice.
estate.
Nice. That's great. So right now, how's the market right now? I mean, I've been hearing a lot of
Mhm.
stories, and there a lot of people are saying that, I don't know. There was a post somewhere. Was it Six Buzz, or was it somewhere that mentioned that real estate license renewal have dropped? Is
Yes,
that true?
you are right. I actually read it online too. Of course, this must be true. That's why people are posting it. But a really good realtor posted it too. So that
Okay.
is true.
Okay.
And back in about 2020, when everything was just booming, everything
Yeah.
was easy. That was an easy making period.
True.
I would say people whom I think that they will be the last person to get the license,
Mm-hmm.
they also got the license.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to sell my house. That's it. I'm going to save that commission
Mm.
because it's so easy to get into that business.
Mm-hmm.
So people are just getting licensed.
Okay.
The exams are not that tough.
Mm.
If you
If you
know how
actually
to
study.
study, yeah, if you
Okay.
actually study. So it's easy to get in, but it's hard to survive.
True.
It's very
because
hard to survive.
because I'm sure, like you said, there's one good thing you mentioned about for handling rejections. How was that for you and is for you till date? How do you handle rejections in real estate?
Well, I just don't go and just start selling.
Okay.
I study the product.
Okay.
I see what builders are offering or what the seller is offering. If there is real charm for the buyers,
Mm-hmm.
then only I take that necessary information
Uh,
and go to them.
okay.
So, because I see the value in that product,
Yeah.
it's easy for me to convince them. They cannot straight away say no. I say, okay, talk to me. What's the logic?
Mm-hmm.
I can prove it. It's a right investment.
Okay.
If I don't do my homework, don't study, and if I just go in front of you, of course you're gonna win that argument.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a person I witnessed this who bought that property from you, and he had a lot of questions. He was an investor basically, and he had a lot of questions. His family had a lot of questions, and you walked him through the process. You explained it to him why this property is beneficial for him, because I think one of the reasons or the things you mentioned back then is, do you want to move in now, or are you looking for a future investment? So he said, yeah, future. And then you told him, okay, what's your range? Will you be able to afford something at this range or at this range? So the product, when you mentioned, so consumers are also your products, right? Customer is the product for you. So do you study your customers? Do you study
100%.
their lifestyle? Do you ask them questions related to their lifestyle and their needs and wants?
100%. Before even I pitch a sale thing,
Mhm.
I ask them a question. There are a list of things I need to ask that's in my head.
Okay.
I always tell people realtor is like a puzzle maker.
Okay.
We need to take this puzzle, this puzzle, this puzzle. We listen to everything, and then here you go. We have to basically make a product for you,
Hmm.
and we have to basically guide you. Okay, these are your challenges.
Okay.
This is your requirement, but this is your budget. This
Okay.
is where you will land.
Okay.
That's what, and that's why I love my job.
That's nice. That's nice because you're always having that critical thinking going on,
Yes.
right? You're always thinking, okay, he's not someone who's going to buy a mansion in Mississauga, right? He's probably someone who's looking for an apartment somewhere in downtown,
Yes.
right? And there's someone who you already can gauge and analyze. Oh yeah, this guy really needs a mansion, but let me actually tell him why it's probably not good for him right now.
Or
Right?
some of them are really risk taker. I can tell them, listen, this is the product.
Okay.
The chances are either it will be where it is right now, or
Mhm.
it could go 10 times more.
Okay.
Are you the one?
Nice.
So they will buy that product, but that product might not be suitable for the other one who want to say, you know what, I'm going to play risk free.
Nice.
So that's why every day is so different in real estate,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
every person is different, every client is different, their questions is different, their needs are different.
Nice. So, as an outsider, because I'm not in the business, and for our viewers out there, what are some of the risks in real estate? Like, can you give us a few pointers? Like, what are the risks in real estate? Because we've always heard real estate is safe; you can never go wrong. But I'm sure there are things that you personally feel because you guide the people the right way. You don't want to just sell something and then back off because your name is going to be quoted everywhere, be it bad or good, right? So if you've done a bad job, you're not going to get referrals, and in fact, people can talk trash about you.
Yeah.
So, and you don't want that. I know that for a fact because you're not someone who and that
One
all
transaction, yeah.
yeah, who just doesn't want to do a transaction. You genuinely talk to people and try to do your best in giving them. Now, what are the risks that you think there are in real estate?
One good thing again you mentioned is we are on a hook when we basically do a transaction. We are on a hook until they sell the house,
Okay.
because until they do that,
Yeah.
they're gonna keep telling, "Oh, this is the person who basically got us the house." You get my
Yeah.
point? So
Yeah.
that's kind of we're kind of like an insurance for them.
True.
The risk is, I would say, the person also needs to do their homework, their
Okay.
needs. If they start communicating to us,
Yeah.
it becomes our job much easier.
Okay.
But the property is something like one bad decision can basically can get you all saving
Eaten up.
eaten up as
And
well.
in what way generally? Is that because the house has some issues, the location has some issues, or that vicinity is in a place that you probably won't see a future growth in that? Like
I
in
mean,
what way?
some example. For example, you should never buy a house if there's a graveyard in the backyard, for
Okay.
example. That's kind of a stigma. You're basically putting so much niche into
Mm.
your buyer market when you're
Mm,
trying to
mm.
sell it. That
Okay.
these are like absolutely
So
no.
basically these are not investment properties.
No, these are not even end user
Any
properties.
using properties.
Stay away from that.
Okay.
If you buy low, you will sell low as well,
Okay.
but you will keep having a hard time selling it too.
There was a woman she said this on a podcast very recently when I was just doing my research on real estate because I know I had to invite you, so I was even though you're my friend, I still had to do my research on you and the market. So there was this woman who was talking on podcast, and she's a realtor. I believe she's somewhere in Mississauga or somewhere. So she said that buy a cheap property in an expensive vicinity because that's going to give you more return than going after an expensive property in an expensive place
Absolutely.
because that's not going to give you a return.
Absolutely.
How much do you agree with that?
100%.
Okay.
110%.
Isn't that smart?
It is absolutely, and the product as well. Like if you buy a smaller product like a townhouse semi-detached in the
Okay.
detached vicinity, you will always have an upper hand for
Okay.
sure. Yeah, that's
Okay.
true.
So in that line of work, basically, how do you compare this house is in an expensive place? You can quote some areas based on your knowledge, and this is how I'm going to judge this house is in an expensive Porsche area, but this house itself is not as good as the rest. Hence, the price will be lower. So, what are type of houses do you think in an expensive area cannot be sold in a market value, and you can probably get it lower than that? What type of houses would that be? Like just old construction, or is there a specific type of lot? You can quote examples from the
So the question I understood is what kind of, how can you buy a cheaper product in
yeah.
an
Like what's a
expensive?
cheap house in an expensive area? Like what are the type of houses?
Well, the number one rule in real estate is if you buy something which is completely finished, a renovated property,
Yeah.
yes, you will enjoy it, but you will always get it expensive too.
Okay.
The people who is doing the hard work, dirty stuff, which is
They
the
already made
seller,
the money out of it,
they
right?
already made the money and you're going to pay the premium for sure.
Mm,
Yes, you are going to be the one enjoying everything. Everything is dumped into the mortgage because you don't
hmm.
have to do the renovation, but you
But
will
you're
pay the
paying
premium.
premium. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
So, but if you buy a gutted property
Okay.
where it needs work,
Okay.
first of all, you're omitting a lot of buyers who are going to buy that, especially the
Mm,
95 people. They don't have time.
true.
They don't want to go into an unknown factor. Oh, what if I open this drywall and it start leaking?
Mm,
Though it won't,
true.
but they will have this in their head.
Yeah.
So automatically, there are very less buyers targeting that property.
Mm,
Those are the one you can actually target, do the dirty stuff on it,
mm.
and then sell it at a premium.
Nice. And brings me to an interesting point because you yourself bought a property with, I'm sure you probably had friends and investors along with you, but you, I think, chose a property in a really good neighborhood, which you bought for probably less than the market value, and then you did the dirty work,
Yes.
right? How's that experience for you?
So, not many people know I'm a developer as well on the side as well. That's my another company. So I build houses.
Okay.
So that was one of the project that I always had in my mind. So I bought like an old bungalow
Okay.
and completely demolished it. It
Okay.
was like 50, 60 years old.
Was this your first project in terms of demolishing and
Demolishing, yes.
okay.
Flipping it, no.
Okay. And
I,
when you say flipping for our viewers, is it renovating and
yes,
okay.
flipping two parts. One
Okay.
is just a structure is good. I changed everything inside the house
Okay.
and did it. The second flipping was I bought like an old bungalow.
Okay.
I applied for the permit that, okay, someone is going to basically, we're going to demolish the house. We're going to build a custom house. So I sold that house with the permit to the developer, to the
Okay.
builder.
Okay.
I didn't build it,
Okay.
but someone else going to build it.
Okay.
So that's also flipping for me.
Nice.
So I did that too. So after doing these couple of things, then I thought, you know what, this time I'm going to go to the next step.
Okay.
I like challenges. I like doing those things.
Yeah, I can see that in you. Yeah, you don't like the easy way out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this also helped me to bring other clients because I can say there's a saying like walk the talk.
Walk the talk. Yeah.
Exactly. So I want to do that and show them, listen, this is what I've done.
Mm.
Are you interested?
Yeah. And I could tell because I've been in that house a couple of times. It was an amazing, beautiful house that you made. I commended you on your work because based on what you had from flooring to the massive rooms, the amazing, beautiful washrooms. I love beautiful washrooms, to be honest, because it's not where I spend the time most, but 15 minutes of my mornings are in the washroom and I shower really long, not because there's any reason. It's just I listen to music in the shower. So I spend most of my time in the shower room. So having beautiful washrooms, I saw that. The way you just, managed to segregate the lounge, the kitchen, the guest area, it was really lovely. It was a really beautiful house. If you will allow me, I will actually post a picture of that in between this podcast just to show the viewers the outside of it.
You can share the address too. I don't mind that.
Okay. And okay, so I don't want you to quote me the exact number, but can you quote probably a percentage as to how much beneficial it was for you buying a property which you said gutted, maybe in your terminology, and then you put in the efforts of 2 years. How much time did it take to build that?
So 1 year of drawing process because it was rented out. Building process, 18 months.
18 months.
It
Okay.
took longer because this was my first project. So I was taking time to learn
Okay.
and stuff.
Okay. So within that 2.5, 3 year period, you invested your time, money, and energy. How much was the return, like in percentage wise? Let's suppose if you invested 100,000 and you sold it for 130,000, so you made like 30% profit on it. And if you would have just bought a property and sold it the same time frame, you would have probably made 10%. So how much was the difference? What do you think was the percentage of
Well,
markup,
the
or
thing didn't work out with a bit. The timing was wrong
a
because
bit
the
off?
market actually dipped while the
Okay.
time of sale, but I was still able to make money.
Okay.
It could have been probably around 200% if the market was right.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But because the market was not right,
Okay.
we had to basically adjust our percentage according to the
Okay.
market.
So he made less money in his mind,
Yes, for sure.
but
But
okay.
with the flipping,
Yeah.
with the land,
Yeah.
we made about like 400% return.
Wow. Wow. That's an amazing
Yeah,
return, man.
yeah, because that timing was right. The
Your
timing
the timing was right.
exactly. So if I basically do an average,
Yeah.
I am where I am.
Okay.
So that property definitely made more money, the flipping one.
Nice. What about your clientele, Ajit? Is there a specific type of clientele you target, or are you welcoming to any and everyone?
Well, I don't advertise a certain way
Okay.
that I'm only targeting first time home buyer, second time home buyer, but I do entertain a lot of clients.
Okay.
But for me, definitely what I like and it's easy for me to guide them through are the investors
Okay.
who basically wants to make money. So I can guide them, listen, there's a potential here if
Okay.
you invest, because
Mhm.
I can show them that what is coming, why this location is good.
Mhm.
Builders as well. So investors definitely, or people who are upsizing
Okay.
because they've already had an experience of real estate before.
Okay.
So they understand the process and the risk.
Mhm.
So those are the two that I really, really like.
Okay.
But it's not like I don't work with first time home buyers.
Okay.
Um,
And your brother is also now in the same line of work. I think I recently asked him, or I asked you, where you said you don't do rentals, right? You
I
only
don't do
do.
rentals and I don't do outside the GTA.
Okay.
He's basically the one because we don't
Okay.
let the client go. No matter
Oh.
what, if client comes in, we provide like we give them the
So
service.
that's a good example of how unity in within family also works, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have a brother. I know he's very supportive of you, and you're equally reciprocating the same love and
Yeah.
support to him, and that has probably worked the best for you guys, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you both are in the same field, and you're probably looking after each other. If he's not doing something, you're probably covering for him. If you're not doing something, he's always there to cover for you.
Yeah.
So you look at the buy and sell, and he looks at the renting. And
He does buy and sell as well.
okay,
But he for example, if I'm not available, I'm on the vacation, he's the one who covers it. And from the rental business, there's so many people who have bought and sold too.
hmm.
So imagine if I'm letting go of those
Yeah,
rentals and they might have been introduced to some other agents and
correct.
I wouldn't have known.
Yeah,
So that money is coming into the
into the
house.
family. Yeah, and
So he basically take care of the to the whole client.
okay,
No matter if he buys
he's
it,
not restricted to anything. It's just your focus is more on buy and sell and the investors that you have.
I bring more clients. I'm good at talking people.
Okay,
I go out, convince them,
okay,
show them the product.
nice, nice. And how much of this do you devote every day? Like, how is a realtor's life?
And that's the thing that people don't know because that's not on social media.
Yeah,
But we work way more than 9 to 5 for sure.
I've seen a poster somewhere in Brampton, and again, this was a lady, I think, and I'm sure a lot of people probably do that type of marketing. This lady, I think you probably know them if I just mention you her tagline. It says that you can call me 24/7 even if I'm sleeping. I don't know if you know the realtor, but this was outside a car dealership in which I was getting my car from, and outside there was this huge poster of a realtor, and she said you can literally call me anytime, and then again she reiterated it. I mean anytime. So, what is a realtor's life? And
Yeah.
I'm gonna touch upon your personal life a little bit, but you're married now. You have a beautiful daughter.
Thank you.
Congratulations for that. So how does it affect your lifestyle, and how do you balance that?
So the first part about working, honestly, sometimes it's literally 12 hours.
Okay.
Uh, Sometimes you have to present offer at midnight as well.
Okay.
And I have seen offer process going on because they're so back and forth.
Hmm.
I have worked an offer until 1:30 a.m. as well
Okay.
at night. And the morning, the earliest I've worked is like 7 a.m.
Okay. So this is something that we don't get to see. No one highlights this. They
Exactly.
highlight the luxury vehicles you drive, and the travels that you probably make, but no one talks about the work that you do.
And when I joined real estate, in Brown, uh, we are habit of working like kind of time.
Yeah.
We don't have kind of a set timing, kind of a work ethic. Okay,
Yeah.
we don't have to work after 6 or
Yeah.
7 on weekend. Somehow we are kind of that.
Yeah, we're just open. Yeah.
Exactly. But what happened when I became a real estate agent, I used to get calls from all the different kind of demographic people, white, Chinese, at 10 p.m. And they used to pick up my call as well. Then I thought, it's not who you are, it's the profession that
You are in.
actually make you go out of your working hours. So they will also pick up your phone, and they won't tell you or make you feel like, why are you calling me at this time?
Mm.
It's just the language of an agent to agent.
And that's also because, I mean, the line of your work you're in, let's suppose I want a house. Okay. I'm working 9 to 5.
Exactly.
Now, I don't have time 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to you after 5, probably after 6.
And weekend.
Yeah. And weekend.
Exactly.
All right. Because after 9 to 5, probably I'm tired. I don't want to see your face. I don't want to talk to you. I don't know what you're sharing with me. So I have the Saturday available, which is usually the party time for people. And you're probably working. Right.
Exactly.
So,
And those are the most busiest time.
okay.
9 to 5, we try to do all the paperwork, computer work, and then we are out on showing. True.
Nice. Yeah.
So it's not, so that it's easy to survive because if you love the job. Otherwise, it's the most difficult thing.
True. Yeah, it's something that you should not aspire to be if you're not ready to give in the time and dedication and effort. And if it does not suit your lifestyle. But now people are people, family is family, women are women. You're married. How do you manage that at home? Because I'm sure your wife wants more time from you. Now you have a daughter. She probably needs attention. She needs the dad to be around. So how's that going?
uh, One thing that people don't know, when I was struggling between my two resignation and
Yeah.
all these experiment, I was
Mm.
engaged. The amount of support she gave it to me
Okay.
by being silent,
Okay. Yeah.
was a very, very good.
Okay. Okay.
Imagine an extra noise that is coming.
And that too, by the way, long distance relationship. She was not in the country, right?
She was not in the country.
Yeah.
Because when I went to Pakistan, she was, but yes, during that. So imagine that uh, the support that I got by
Wife.
saying that do whatever you want, by not saying it,
Yeah.
but by
Showing.
not saying anything what you're doing,
Okay.
what you're doing. That was kind of a support that I got for
Nice.
sure.
Nice. So credit to your wife, kudos,
Absolutely.
Anjali. We know you. So.
Yes. And after that, she knows that I love it. I love real estate. So she will never say that, okay, what are you doing? Why are you working so many hours? Because she knows how much it makes me happy.
I have a different reason, she told me.
But okay, we can talk about that if you can say on the podcast too. But with time, when I made my way, and I thought, you know what, now it's time. 5 years after 5 years of my real estate
Yeah.
career, I decided, you know what, now it's time. I need to find a balance.
Yeah.
And that was also came from her as well, which was the right thing.
Yeah.
Then I started setting up reminders on my phone that
Or-
that no work. Exactly.
Okay.
Especially Friday after 7 p.m. There were certain times where I, because it's so easy to get into it. It's like, okay, on your phone, message client, this property came.
And then you
They're gonna
respond
reply,
back.
and then you can see, oh, this is a potential client. There are like potential
Interest.
2.5% commission on
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
and you are always there.
Yeah.
But then I had to literally set up reminders saying that no work after this.
Hmm.
And then you know what? I need to find balance.
Nice. So she told me I don't disturb Ajit when he's working is because he pays for my luxury handbags. So I complain less because he takes me to places where I would not be able to afford otherwise. So
No.
so-
I think she was making humor out of it, but she tells me you need to take care of the necessity.
Yeah.
I'll take care of the luxury.
Nice. That's good. That's good. And I really like her because, like you mentioned, I see that also in her. Whenever we've brought up you as a topic, and she always has spoken highly of you, and that's because again you walk the talk. So a man in general, I think, is respected more when he walks the talk. You know, there's a lot of people we see these days who promise you the world, but there's no action to it. So I think a lot of relationships even fail due to those reasons. And I'm really happy that you've been able to find a right balance between your work and your private life.
Yeah.
Nice, good.
And one more thing I added during this process, which I will really, really encourage to all the realtors to do that. Um, when we used to come home, either we had an option for Netflix
Yeah.
or work again, right?
Okay.
Let's say
Yeah.
you have time to do work.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to really disconnect those two things. And then I found, and I basically joined badminton group. So I love sports,
Oh
but I
yes.
was no I was not consistent with that. I play cricket too, but that changed. Now I'm so regular, no matter what happens,
There you go.
minimum two or
It's
three
like
days.
working out, right? It's like
Exactly.
working out.
No matter what happened, 2 hours of badminton, I disconnect myself from work.
Nice. That's nice. That's
That is something that had really changed my work ethic for sure.
great. One more things for the viewers who probably look up to you and aspire to become a real estate agent like you one day. What are the major expenses that they need to take into consideration when getting into this line of work?
Well, there are fixed expenses for sure. Paying a brokerage fee, software fee, you cannot avoid that,
Okay.
right? They're certain. But what happens is after that, you you need to do those expenses in order to get business, in order to get leads. Sorry.
Okay.
A lot of people run Facebook ad, Instagram ad.
Hmm.
I've seen people running $10,000 per project as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
For me, I sponsor 3 cricket teams. So I sponsor different. I run ads as well.
Okay.
I do cricket team, and I take out people on a boat as well.
Okay.
Whoever buys house through
Yeah,
me, and
because
there,
that's the lifestyle you need to
yeah,
have. Yeah.
yeah. I've kept doing different things, stopped, and
Okay.
something are ongoing. So these are the things that you need to. You don't see a direct return out of it, but you need to do to basically increase
Be
your
in the game. Yeah.
brand value, right? And the leads will come. So these are the expenses. The more you put in the market,
The more
the
you
more business you're gonna get. So depending what kind of agent you are, right?
nice, nice. So basically, you've taken this as your business now, right? This looks on a high level like a job. You're working for a brokerage or maybe, but this is a business.
This is a
This
business.
is a business.
You have to work under a brokerage anyways, or you
Yeah.
open up your own brokerage,
Is there
which
any
is an
benefits
extra
to
work.
that? Is there any benefits to
Well, you
open your
don't
own
pay a
brokerage?
specific cut to it,
Okay.
but there are a lot of paperwork. You have to maintain the trust account, paperwork,
Hmm.
hire an admin. It's too much work. You cannot do both.
Hmm.
Absolutely no.
Okay.
If you're doing both, you're basically fooling yourself, to be very
Okay.
honest. Either you can be a good salesperson
Or you
or
can
you
be a
can be a
good
broker.
broker.
You can be both. Then you have to hire a team.
Okay.
Where how you gonna maintain who's gonna respond to your leads, right?
The expenses, the admin. There's a lot of things to
So
pay.
so uh again the fixed cost depending how much money you want to pump into the market.
Okay. Nice. So I ask my questions to the other commoners that I've invited is always because we're living in Canada and expenses are really high. And since you've been the longest in this country from some of the immigrants that I know, what do you think is the major expenses that you spend your money on, and you know like how give me a ballpark number maybe if you can. How much do you spend in a month which are fixed, which you cannot avoid anymore?
Like outside real estate, right?
Yeah, just your lifestyle, just you as an individual, as a family sustaining in Canada. I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, you're earning more, so it's justifiable, but still, you're making those expenses, right? So, how are you? What's the ballpark number that you spend per month, which you cannot avoid at all?
Oh, I would say easily, like if you take out the mortgage, which is the major chunk,
Yeah,
no matter what happens, you're still spending around like easily 3 to 4 grand.
on mortgage,
Other than mortgage,
other than mortgage.
it's
Yeah,
because of I still find food and alcohol because we come from a different background.
yeah,
In Pakistan, food is so cheap,
cheap. Yeah,
right? But here, food is the most expensive.
yeah,
Like the comparison between in a restaurant,
yeah.
if you do grocery at home, there's a wide difference. Why? because restaurant have so much overhead, they have to charge that money from
True.
you.
True.
So I believe that
Food.
the food industry is really expensive, and people
Okay.
are our generation, they are spending so much money
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
So I think that's a major chunk, alcohol
Okay.
and food.
Where your money goes.
That
Okay.
definitely,
What
definitely.
about your car payments or insurances? Are they compared to what it was back in the day,
I
2015?
think I think those were same.
Okay.
I mean, it was not cheap then either. I
Okay.
remember paying probably 200 or $225
Back then.
back then, no matter
Okay.
what happened. Even for a smaller, cheap car, you
Hmm.
still have to pay that. Now it's still the same.
Okay. Nice.
Definitely. You
Nice.
cannot avoid that.
And to the younger generation, which you've tried to give me at one point in time about saving, you did lecture me and you tried to make me understand what is you, because your experience, you're really good with finances. I admire that about you. You're very balanced, even though if you have probably an X number of amount that you make, yet you know the value of where you spend you, because you're self-aware. And this is not I've learned this from you, but again, I've seen a lot of famous people, which I would again like to quote Andrew Tate. He talks about know where you're spending your dollar at, right? Be it you're a millionaire, you're a billionaire, but you need to know
Mm.
where you're spending your money. So, are you aware about how where your money goes, how much you're spending? Because I've seen you. You would just not pay anyone $100 just like that. You would want to know why you're paying the $100, right?
100%. 100%. Be it personal or be it in business. I keep track of my personal expenses too. I'm a
Okay.
very organized. I love Splitwise app.
Okay.
I have everything recorded in there.
Okay.
I need to know how much yearly average my personal expenses are, how much is the traveling expense, how
Okay.
much is my business. I have like
Nice.
proper Excel sheet for that
Nice.
because I want to see everything in a zoom
Holistically.
out vision.
Yeah. 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 You're right. So that's nice. Again, I think we've covered most of our topics that we had to. Any message for your followers that you have on Instagram and the people who look up to your or and again, I asked this to everyone. Would you be open if people actually reach out to you on Instagram, because I'm going to be sharing your handle
Oh,
if they
absolutely.
want to reach out to you for
Absolutely.
some tips and suggestions, or probably just buying their first property from you?
Abs-
Would you be comfortable me sharing that?
I would love to again. There was a one point that I really wanted to write an article
Okay.
that how to follow a passion, like
Okay.
how to basically get into 9 to 5, or anyone who is basically struggling with their job.
Yeah.
And trust me, there are so many people who have reached out to me
Nice.
saying that, hey, I've heard your story. Can we have a coffee? Let me know
Mm,
what should I do. So many people, even
nice.
Anjali's friend at work, when they came to know that I'm out of 9 to 5 job, I've literally spoke to them for
Nice.
half an hour. I've motivated so many people.
Nice.
If my story can inspire anyone, trust me, that's bigger than someone buying a
I'm
house.
telling you, the reason you're here is because I know it's gonna be inspiring people, because you've inspired me. So if you can inspire someone like me who probably is who cannot give um a fuck about a lot of things in his life, but I've been inspired about you on many occasions, and I continue to do so every time we meet. You do something which inspires me till date, and I'm sure the audience out here during this podcast session, they're gonna take a lot of things from you, and you've been a really great guest. Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
So yeah, thank you so much for joining, and look forward to posting this on not only my channel but your Instagram, because you have good followers as well. So
Yeah, thank you. And I really want to give one message out.
yes,
Take
please.
risk. Don't expect things will come on your way. It won't. You have to keep experimenting those small things, and you will get those that confidence from small things. I know people are way ahead in their life and they're like, oh, we have responsibility, we cannot do now. That's okay. Again, take small steps. I found real estate while I was doing 9 to 5 second time.
Yeah, yeah,
It didn't just fall onto my plate like that.
true,
It was fifth or sixth experiment that I did. Then I found real estate.
nice.
I don't remember that life now because I'm so focused. I'm so
Yeah,
happy
you
into that.
cannot probably imagine it anymore. Yeah,
That's fine.
and I'm
That
glad.
was
I'm
worth
glad.
taking the risk.
I'm glad, my friend, and I wish you nothing but the best. And
Thank
I
you,
hope to or this friendship of ours to go for many years. Probably if
it
I
will.
have kids, your kids will be friends too. But thank you so much for coming, Ajit.
Thank you so much.